right. What is up, everybody? Brian Zimmerman here, host of Jazziz Live and executive editor of Jazziz Magazine. It is Friday. We're coming to you on a Friday. And as you may or may not know, Friday in this industry, the jazz industry, the recording industry, is album release day. So a bunch of new albums drop today, as they do every Friday. And, we were thinking back to the old times when there were things like record releases. Remember, you used to go to the record store and kind of dig through the crates and find out what was new and talk to the record store owner and bring some friends and meet some friends. And that was the way you discovered new music. Do you remember that? Well, we thought we'd do something similar on the show today. And to do that, I invited my friend, my virtual friend, that would be Jazz's online editor, Matt Micucci. He is waiting backstage. And what we're going to do simply is dig through the crates, our virtual crates, our inbox crates, to bring you some of the music that we've been listening to. Some of it just came out, was released today, and other albums that have been out forever, but we just found ourselves listening to them on this Friday. And we invite you, if you're watching, to do the same. Let us know in the comments what you've been listening to. After all, jazz is all about recommendations, recommending a new album, a new concert, a new musician. So hopefully with this conversation, we'll, encourage you to open your ears a little bit and listen to some new artists. And like we say, we invite you to do the same for us. Before we get into that conversation, though, speaking of just the good old days and records, wanted to bring your attention to our current print issue. This is the fall 2020 issue. It has already been mailed to subscribers, so should be in your mailbox or hopefully on your coffee table. But this is it. It's all about the art of the album. So collecting albums, album cover art, producing albums, concept albums. It's a really cool issue. I am super proud of it. And yeah, we have digitized all of the material from this print issue and posted on our website. So if you're not a print subscriber, that's okay. You could read these all as HTML articles on our site. You'll need a digital subscription to do that. And right now we're offering a special subscription rate for just 99 cents per month for 3 months. You can unlock unlimited digital access to the site, which will get you all the articles from this issue and previous issues. And right now, just right now, we will enroll you to receive a complimentary copy of our print issue come winter, our December 2020 issue, which is all about jazz and film. So you sign up, you get the digital stuff right now, and you get a print issue in your mailbox in December. But you got to act right now. All right, without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in our guest to this, album recommendation conversation. Here he is from Italy, no less. Jazz's online editor, Matt Micucci. Hey there, Matt.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Genoa in Italy.
Right. Thank you for joining us. We should mention, by the way, that we are running this show, or attempting to, sans our usual producer, Jeff, who is indisposed. So we're running the boards ourselves. It may get hairy, people. It may get weird, but we're doing our best. And yeah, like I say, this is going to be an open conversation, recommending some music, and we invite you to do the same. But Matt, it was a good week for album releases and just for listening to music in general.
Yeah,
I was going to say listening to music in Genoa, as you are. But yeah, man, so we can start with you and just ask, Matt, what have you been listening to, dude?
I don't know, and I've been listening to a lot of stuff, but yes, I picked out 3 albums, and Brian, which one of the 3 would you like to start with? Because I could go either way.
I've got a very nice album here by the Chick Corea Electric Band, all queued up and ready to show on screen. So check that out.
Okay. All right. So the Chick Corea, yes, the debut album, the Chick Corea Electric Band. Chick Corea actually recently released a great solo piano album.
Yes,
so
Plays.
Plays, and that's a really cool one. This is something quite different from that one. Well, all right. So more than a review, I thought that I would share some thoughts that I had while listening to this, because I rediscovered this album. Actually, I had listened to it before, but I was surprised with how difficult, surprisingly, it was to get a digital copy of this album, at least via the platform I use, Spotify. It turns out the album is there, but it's hidden for some reason by the algorithm. I don't understand stuff like that, but that's why I decided that I would talk about it, because, hey, it is there. And if you can, check it out again, rediscover. So while looking up stuff about it, before I get into it, it occurred to me that some people still find production techniques of the 80s, just they're hostile towards them. And while I was listening to this, I really incendiary brand of fusion, it occurred to me that maybe naysayers should kind of just ought to maybe embrace the vintage sound of such things as digital FM synthesizers and other things that, after all, we hear them in dance music nowadays. And newer generations have no problem including them in their own arsenals of sounds. So as we do, we should totally reevaluate the debut album of Chick Corea's electric band, which features a stellar band, 2 guitarists and John Patitucci on bass doing his stuff, playing really rapid-fire bass lines here and there too, and just the idiosyncratic blend of fusion of rock and jazz. And this LP really showcases that. And it was nothing short of groundbreaking at the time and very popular. We should highlight that it was very popular, but also in some parts, influence of jazz tradition is particularly evident. Got a Match, which I feel is the most famous song from the album.
Yeah.
And it's an absolute classic. But to me, and this may be just my evaluation of this song and my conclusion, but to me, it sounds like an 80s bebop tune. So
80s bebop. Yeah.
Yeah, there's something bebop about it. It's just I feel that from it. I don't know why, but yeah, I think so. It's a great album.
Great track, great album, kind of classic Chick Corea electric band stuff. I love Chick in almost any setting, electric band, acoustic band, solo. Like you said, the solo album just came out. So very cool pick, Matt. And that's going to be a good weekend listen. I'm sure our fans, if people watching, if you dug this album too, let us know. Speaking of people watching, we've already got some friends saying hello. Lavinia, hello to you too. Lavinia, what have you been listening to this week? And what are you going to spend this weekend? And Joyce too, hello to you. Let's see if let's see if we could figure this out.
I want to know what people are listening to. Come on, share it with us.
Totally.
We'd love to know.
Totally.
What albums are you guys listening to?
I will share the album that I have been listening to. And this is one that, again, this is one of the ones that came out today. It is by the pianist Edward Simon. Here, I'll try to show you. There, Edward Simon. It is called 25 Years. Again, it came out today on Ridgeway Records. So Edward Simon is this wonderful pianist, originally from Venezuela. He moved to the States, I think, like solo to come play in Philadelphia. He moved to Philadelphia to be a student at the Philadelphia Performing Arts School. And there kind of merged his upbringing in classical music and the traditional Latin music of Venezuela with the amazing jazz tradition that came out of Philadelphia. He's a beautiful pianist. He's a wonderful composer. I wish more people knew about him. He seems to be a little bit, undersung these days, but he's an incredibly talented guy. And for this album, he kind of curated a retrospective, if you will, of some of his favorite songs, some of his favorite recordings from the past 25 years that he did. And for a player like Edward Simon, he's such an incredible fusion, almost a seamless fusion of his styles from classical to Latin to, again, that hard swinging Philly bop. Some people, it sounds like oil and water, that the styles don't mix. With Edward, it's just this beautiful, seamless fusion. And he got some incredible players on this album too. Saxophonist Mark Turner makes an appearance. Altoist David Binney makes an appearance. Bassist Scott Colley makes an appearance. John Patitucci, Ben Street, Brian Blade is on there, as is Adam Cruz. And just some wonderful tracks on here. Simplicity is a gorgeous track. What If is a gorgeous track. So if you're looking for, again, a player, you're looking for a new piano player to maybe add to your repertoire, start with Edward Simon, because the guy can really do it all. And as I mentioned, an undersung player, and to see his career, as a retrospective really makes you appreciate just how talented he is, just how accomplished a composer he is. So that is my recommendation, is this 25-year retrospective of a brilliant player, Edward Simon. I love the album cover too, Matt. It kind of reminds me of those like Verve, David Stone Wallace album covers. And we're getting some feedback here. Lavinia is letting us know she's been listening to A Brighter Day by Ronnie Jordan. Very cool. All right, check that out. Fiona Bloom listening to Joe Locke, an amazing vibes player. and just, as a conceptualist, putting together an album, based on things like poetry or literature, one of the best. Joyce has been listening to some Bobby Watson. Right on. Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of Bobby Watson too. He had that album come out on Smoke Sessions, which is really good. And Electric Wonderland by Chris Strandring. Yeah, our friend Chris. Right on. And Joyce, Joni Mitchell. Yes. Very cool. Very cool, Joyce. All right. That brings it to you, Matt. Let's go ahead. What is the next album on your list? What have you been spinning this week?
All right. So, well, you know what? Let's stick with the 80s. I don't know if you agree. What do you say to that?
I love the 80s.
You love the 80s?
Remember that show? Wasn't that a show on VH1 or something?
I love the 80s.
You can see the Rubik's Cube over my left shoulder there. So,
yeah.
I can solve, by the way. All right.
What do you think of Grover Washington Jr.?
I love Grover Washington Jr. and I can pull up his album cover. Things will go a lot smoother. Let's see here.
You think his friends?
Boom, there it is.
You think his friends call him Groover Washington?
They should. Sorry. If they don't, that is a missed opportunity.
Well, so he's got to be one of the most influential saxophonists of his generation, I think. And Wine Light from 1980, so the start of the 80s, is probably one of the most influential records of its time, if not the most. It's often credited as the album that actually birthed a smooth jazz, not least of all because of the huge popularity of its hit single, Just the Two of Us, featuring Bill Withers on vocals. But thinking that this album is just a hit song with, some fillers, instrumentals here and there would be a mistake. Personally, I love every track of this record. I was actually listening to it earlier today when you sent me that text to say that let's do it, and I was like, oh, I gotta talk about this album because I love it. So I love every track. I have a soft spot for track 4, Take Me There. It starts off real tender before it just erupts into just some type of really energetic samba. And by the way, the influence of Latin music is quite evident throughout the set. Soon enough after the release of this album, countless artists tried to get that same sound. I think that maybe the fact that they were trying to actually led to some innovations in production techniques. This would not be, people have pointed this out as well. But in closing, I would like to say that while the star is Grover Washington, it's hard not to highlight that a young Marcus Miller is heard on bass. Oh, yeah. And his unique slapping technique on track 2, Let It Flow, is just awesome. So I could talk about this album forever, but I feel like it's just ended here. I love it. It's a fantastic album.
I've been listening to some vintage Marcus Miller too. Bernard Wright, the keyboardist, one of his first albums, I think Spinnin' or one of those jams, had a young Marcus on it, absolutely laying it down. And of course, I heard the funky bass line. I was going, who is this? It doesn't get much funkier than this. Inevitably, recognizable. I mean, that's just the way it is. Yeah. All right. Next up on the list, I got another one that came out today. And it was on my mind because I just spoke with the musician who recorded it. And that would be Dave Koz. So it is Dave Koz. Whoops. See, I already messed up the first technical thing. Here we go. Let's try take 2. There it is. Dave Koz. His new album, A New Day. This is his first album of original compositions in something like 10 years. And it drops today, October 9th, 30 years plus 1 day after the release of his debut album. So we just saw a 25-year retrospective. This is a 30-year anniversary album. He recorded it, in the digital lockdown. So he was passing files to everyone who collaborated on this album, and it is a star-studded album. Brian McKnight is on the lead-off track. David Sanborn is on the album. Bob James is on the album. Paul Jackson Jr. is on the album. Rick Braun is on the album. Jeff Lorber is on the album, and a lot more. It's great grooves. It's exactly what you'd expect from Dave Koz, someone who, grew up loving jazz and Stevie Wonder and Earth, Wind and Fire and all of those classic horn bands. So some really, really deep grooves here. The album release party is today. It's a virtual album release party. You can buy tickets for it, I think. Like I said, we spoke with Dave on Wednesday, and he let us know a little bit more about the making of it. You can check that out. That's on our site, and pick up the album there as well. But just, yeah, a really, really great grooving record. Perfect, as at least here in Miami, we're starting to get some cooler evenings. You could throw this on the car and just cruise around. Really kind of an upbeat listen, and yeah, the kind of music that you want to put on at a party or while cooking dinner, or just when you really want to feel good. So that's what I've been kind of jamming to a little bit. Yeah, definitely go check it out and listen to that conversation with Dave. It's a really cool one. All right. Let's see, Matt. We will try to move along to the next album. I'll toss it over to you for this one. And this would be the third one on your list. So bear with me, folks. Okay.
So this one is a new album, but it's not really a new album, if you catch my drift.
That's right.
But it is one please. that I've been listening to a lot for a few weeks. Well, for a week now, because it's been, officially out for a week, because it came out earlier this month. And I'm talking about Ella Fitzgerald's The Lost Berlin tapes. And we mentioned it, of course, on our video for the 10 albums you need to know, released this month. I wanted to kind of I wanted to mention this album because it's a double album documenting a concert in Berlin from 1962, I believe. I love it because, one of the reasons why I love it is because, to the best of my understanding, it's pretty much uncut and also relatively unpublished. I mean, of course, the sound has been mastered and it sounds beautiful, but there's no cuts. There's no, nothing is added to the mix already. Here and there, so you can hear slight imperfections, not in the vocals of Ella Fitzgerald. I'm not about to say that, Ella Fitzgerald doesn't sing well in this record. I'm talking about the lyrics. Sometimes she gets the lyrics wrong. At some point, Ella forgets the name of the town that she's in during her version of Back the Knife. It's beautiful because despite that, you can see how she never misses a beat. She's a true pro, recovers right away. And that to me is just a mark of what a great entertainer she was, as well as a great vocalist,
Yeah. This was something we've totally talked about before, how Ella is really known for her precision, her fine-tuned instrument. And you see that a lot, obviously, in her studio recordings. But to hear her live is a whole different thing entirely, because like you say, you really get to see her wit, her humor. She was very funny. She was very humble. And so this is, it's just an incredible side of her to see her live here.
And she's backed by a trio, but we kind of they're in the back, they're there, but it's all about her. I feel like
totally,
due respect. I mean, because to be honest, she's backed by a trio, but her voice, I mean, sounds like it's as rich and dense as a full large scale orchestra. And on no occasion do we get a better sense of this than when she begins to scat. So that's another thing that I wanted to highlight from this album. It's just her scatting. Amazing. In fact, that's the reason why I feel that my personal favorite track from this album is Mr. Paganini. That is the title of the song. Now I'm kind of, I think it is anyway, Mr. Paganini. And my favorite moment of the album is their first scat break, which was just one of those moments for me that when I heard it for the first time, I just felt a buzz throughout my entire body and I just wanted to start dancing, So it's unbelievable. Check it out after this video ends, of course, but check it out right away, right after the video ends. You'll know what I mean.
Ella will do that to you. Absolutely. And we've also getting some more feedback here. Joyce wants to let us know that she's been listening to Joe Locke. We brought Joe Locke up earlier. His new video for All Along the Watchtower and Breathe. Jazz music videos. You got to love them. And cool, a vibe interpretation of a Jimi Hendrix, Bob Dylan tune. That's cool. I will check that out, Joyce. Also, shout out to my co-host for Miles Monday, Vince Wilburn Jr., that's a nephew of Miles Davis, no less, who is watching along with us. Hello to you, Vince. What's going on, man? You can let us know what you've been listening to as well, though I guarantee you Miles is definitely in the mix. We will bring up my final album here. Oh, absolutely. Because we have been talking about Vibes players. So this is a new album that just dropped today. I don't know much about this musician, just kind of came in my inbox and I gave it a spin, but I was really digging what I heard. It is a new vibraphone player named Simon. He's French, Simonmoulier, I want to say what it is. And his album is called Spirit Song. from France, went to Berkeley, now lives in Brooklyn. I put this album on because he had some glowing endorsements from the likes of Herbie Hancock, and Quincy Jones, who said, like, this cat is one of the best vibes players at the moment, which puts him in good company because there are a lot of amazing vibes players right now, Joe Locke included, Joel Ross included. So I gave it a spin, and yeah, it's really kind of an eclectic album. Simon also fuses a lot of grooves. He plays, in addition to vibraphone, he plays the balafone, which is an African mallet instrument, and brings a lot of that sound into his mix. So there's definitely some straight ahead swinging here, you know, in like the Lionel Hampton, Milt Jackson vibes vein. But he also incorporates some hip hop, you know, some world music, and it seems to be a talented cat. Again, I don't know much about Simon, just kind of came on my radar. I thought I'd give it a spin. But this is one of the best things about jazz, right? The sound of surprise is you find someone new, and you know, eventually you're off and running through his discography. He's got a bunch of videos out too that I've checked out, and yeah. So thanks to Matt, my friend Matt, publicist extraordinaire, for bringing Simon to my attention. This is a really cool album, and yeah, that does it for me. Let's see some other things I've been listening to. You know, Cecile McLaurin-Salvant, the vocalist, was just awarded a MacArthur Genius Grant, you know, congratulations to her. That is a big deal and well-deserved, because her compositions are just brilliant. Her voice is incredible. She's, you know, one of the voices of today's generation for sure. And she's using her platform, you know, to advance a worthwhile, you know, agenda of social justice, and equality. And so I've been listening to a lot of her stuff, whether it's Woman Child or, you know, the new album she just did with Artemis, that supergroup Artemis. So yeah. Matt, I think that does it for our list of just stuff we've been listening to this week. Yeah, a huge honor. Go Cecile. That's absolutely right, Fiona. Couldn't agree more. Well deserved. Again, if you're watching in replay still, let us know what you've been listening to in the comments. We're open to new music, and we hope recommendations. We hope you'll take some of our recommendations and run with them. And I'm looking forward to whatever you have to recommend. But thanks for watching, Matt. Appreciate you joining me for this call, man. I really appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. Again, if you are interested in the articles from this print issue, the Art of the Album print issue, head on over to jazziz.com, start your trial digital membership, 99 cents per month for 3 months, less than a cup of coffee, and you'll be well on your way. All right, Matt. Thanks again for joining me from Genoa, Italy. We'll see you next week. We're going to try to make this a regular thing, just digging through the crates, finding some albums and recommending them the old-fashioned way.
I'm all for it. It's a great time to make discovery, so I'm all for it.
The algorithms on Spotify, on those streaming services, they can only go so far. It's the real human touch that makes a difference.
That's for sure.
All right, Matt. I am going to sign off. If I can figure out how to sign off here, I'm going to sign off. But so long to you, man. Take it easy.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.